All right, here we go. All right, what's up, ladies and germs? Welcome back to the show. I'm here with Brian and Anna. You all know Brian. He's been on a bunch of times. You know Anna. She don't say much, but she does a lot of work on the show, so we appreciate that. Um, August 21st, 2026, 3:45 p.m. We almost started on time. I think we had it planned for 3:30. Not bad. Illy might pop in, but who knows with her. um so is this a video or are you just pulling up pictures right now?
New video is offering a glimpse inside the USS Abraham Lincoln, and this time the focus is not the flight deck or the warplanes, it is the toilets. A sailor aboard the aircraft carrier has posted footage showing what appears to be a clogged and unusable toilet while questioning how sailors are supposed to live with conditions like this. The sailor then turns the camera toward the toilet. Wait till y'all see toilets, man. Y'all expect me to take a doo-doo in this? And then comes the sarcastic punchline. Join the Navy though, right? The footage appears to show a toilet that is badly clogged and filled with waste. The sailor's message is blunt. This is what he says sailors are being asked to deal with while serving aboard one of America's most important warships. And this video comes at a particularly damaging moment for the USS Abraham Lincoln. For weeks, families of sailors have been raising concerns about conditions aboard the carrier. They have described problems with food, water, sanitation, and basic supplies. Other accounts have alleged broken toilets, moldy showers, shortages of soap and toothpaste, and prolonged disruption to normal shipboard services. The Navy has faced growing pressure to respond to those allegations. The context here is crucial. The Lincoln has been at sea for more than 250 consecutive days, an extraordinary deployment that has placed enormous strain on its crew. The carrier was deployed from San Diego in November and was later redirected to the Middle East to support U.S. military operations against Iran. Its prolonged deployment has now become a central part of the debate over the sailors' living conditions.
Trump's talking, but you can't hear anything. Really can't hear that. Fast forward a little bit past this Trump.
The Holiday Inn.
Okay, here we go.
I don't. So I want to be clear that I don't expect for an aircraft carrier to be the Holiday Inn, right? I don't expect for it to be a luxury lifestyle. Our Marines and our sailors, they are the best of the best. They sign up for hard duty, but we also should expect basic habitability. We should expect running water and clean drinking water, enough food to eat, working plumbing, the basics. Because when you don't have the basics and you think about the needs of the warfighter, it's not just about having enough weapons or the right kinds of weapons. It's also about basic quality of life. Basic readiness requires that you have enough to eat. It requires that you have working plumbing. This is not rocket science. And when I think about my role as an appropriator, every year I'm asked by the president to fund the military to the tune this year of over $1 trillion. And what it tells me is that the priorities are all out of whack. If the president has enough money to be gilding everything inside in Washington, D.C., and to be building a ballroom for himself, but there's no money for plumbing or for enough to eat for our Marines and sailors, it makes no sense. We still, almost 6 months into this thing, don't know when the mission will be accomplished. And you've got a president who, has changed a dozen times, saying often that we've won. Well, if we've won, bring everybody home. And if we haven't, tell the truth about why we're still there and provide clarity to these families whose loved ones are in harm's way.
Brian, do you
And
know who
provide
this
clarity
is?
to our men and women who are serving, who are giving their all to this country. And
No, but he's got to be a Democrat.
you know, it's not too much to ask to have a clear mission, to be
Right.
treated,
Agreed.
in decent conditions in the meantime, and just to have an administration that tells the truth. But I don't think that Pete Hegseth seems capable
There we go.
of telling the truth when the
There you
truth
go.
is inconvenient.
There
Good
And the
call.
reality is, even if the Wall Street Journal reporting today is right, and the Washington's going to take over at some point for the Lincoln, we still don't know when. And when is the only thing the families care about. And we also don't know where. A lot of the families are in San Diego. We're hearing that the Lincoln might wind up in Washington State. So we don't know. There's just so much we don't know. And I think it's all indicative of Hegseth not being up for the job. I don't think he should have been confirmed in the first place.
Oh my God, yeah.
Well, what we're doing now is we're writing letters. We're trying to exercise
Anna, how long
oversight,
is this
but it's tough.
clip?
Yeah, this is just talking points, man.
Oh, that's a long clip. Yeah, that's enough. I really just didn't want to hear any more of this guy. I don't know who he is, but I don't like him. It's kind of embarrassing to hear our sailors complaining about dirty toilets, and I joke around on this show a lot about the Air Force and the Navy being gay, but they're literally are acting gay, like they're entitled. What is going on with the military today, man? First of all, the sailors are supposed to be swabbing the deck, cleaning up everything. That's their job. And they're over here complaining about dirty toilets. This wasn't on the video, but this is stuff that I've read and heard. They're complaining that the food is coming in already spoiled. That's what MREs are for. I would go months at a time without eating real food. MREs stay good forever. And that's exactly what they're for, man. It's like these people are just sounding like entitled pussies. And I don't like it, and it's kind of embarrassing. And then I'm hearing that people are jumping overboard and writing their parents saying they're going to kill themselves and stuff because their little 6-month sale got extended because of Iran, which is exactly what they should have expected to happen if there's some shit going down like somewhere close to where they're at. I mean, that's the whole point of being in the Navy. So I don't know. What do you think, Brian?
Well, there's a carrier task force that's out there. There's at least 12. I think it's like 12 ships. There's tenders. There's a whole battle group, submarines. The Abraham Lincoln is not by itself. So what the aircraft carrier probably, I would say almost certainly has better accommodations than everything else, right? If you're on a Aegis class destroyer, I'm sure their mess hall, whatever you call it on an aircraft carrier, is not as nice as the aircraft carrier,
Right.
So my gut says this stinks. It is there are probably problems, absolutely. More military people die in training accidents than they do in combat. So I'm sure that there are problems logistically. I'm sure that there are problems with nothing's perfect out there, but why aren't the guys in the little ships complaining? Why aren't the guys in the submarines complaining? Right? They're in a freaking submarine and they've been out there for whatever 250 days. So this just reeks of political hit piece, which is unfortunate because if there are real problems, I mean, let's get them fixed. But this is shameful.
Yeah, it's a culture, man. It's like a football team when the coach's job is to keep everybody upbeat, and same with the leadership. So I don't know what happened. Of course, they're pissed off because their 6 months got extended, but that happened to us almost every single time. I can remember one time, I think it was in Haiti. We were guarding an ammo point, and there was some Desert Eagles, like a case of Desert Eagles that just came up missing. It was most definitely probably an officer that stole them, right? Because how is anybody else going to get rid of them? But so they got us all in formation and told us until those Desert Eagles come up, we're not going home. So morale was kind of low after that, but you just got to push through it, man. You can't be a sissy. You're in the military, and sometimes you leave and don't ever come back. So
yeah, right. The fact of the matter is, rules change all the time, even in civilian life. Where I'm working right now, we just went through a thing today where I have to do something I don't like doing because the rules changed. And what am I going to do about it? Post Instagram videos and bitch about my job online? I mean, it's the dumbest thing.
Right.
Yeah.
And the first thing I heard about this Abraham Lincoln, Anna, can you take that picture down? I don't want to look at that guy anymore. It's disgusting. I'm sorry. I was just kidding. It's not your fault. What was I talking about?
That guy, by the way, that guy appears to be a California Democrat. So
that's even better.
Yeah, he's got a California Republic flag in the background.
He looked like he could have been Newsom Jr.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, but I mean, I don't know. All right, we're back. We had some technical difficulties, and more importantly, I ran out of beer. So everything's good now. All right, so yeah, I mean, I can be kind of an asshole about calling these sailors pussies and stuff, but today's society just seems more entitled, and it just seems to be getting worse. When the military is like that, something's wrong. So
when they're not afraid to act that way, right?
What do you mean?
It's typically a self-policing organization where if you have a guy that's just a big whiner or crybaby, a malingerer or whatever you want to call him, he gets the shit kicked out of him by everybody else.
Right. That's what I'm saying. And if you do have an issue, and if you think it's a serious issue, which to be honest, most of this stuff doesn't even sound like that big of an issue to me. But if you did have an issue, you take it up with your squad leader. I don't know what it's called in the Navy, right? The squad leader takes it up with the platoon sergeant. The platoon sergeant takes it up with the first sergeant, and so on.
Yeah,
and then they would get with the officers, the company commander or the lieutenant or whatever it is in the Navy. And you don't call your mom and have her put it on TikTok. That's, man.
Yeah,
I'm so tired of this influencer shit. Everybody wants to put everything on TikTok.
So, like, using the work analogy I was using earlier, or as an example, our toilets get dirty all the time because we have contractors and people from third world countries using them. And it's like, who the freaking heck comes into the bathroom and throws a wad of hand towel in the urinal
Right.
and it doesn't expect it to back up. It's like, I don't get it.
Yeah, that happens everywhere, man. In my work too, it's like even spitting gum in the urinal when you got a trash can right behind you. It's like, what the fuck, man?
Yeah.
What about the lady that's got to come in here and clean this later? Why? There's no reason.
Yep.
People are just fucking assholes.
But you're not putting it on TikTok. You know, it's like, and the Navy's a job. Sorry, it's just a job. The circumstances are different. The terms are different. Your contract, you know, is different than mine is. But at the end of the day, that's what you signed up for.
It's like I said earlier, you might not ever come back.
Yeah.
You know, but I don't know.
Well, they should die with clean toilets, Fox.
It's like I was saying, I'm trying to be more of I was actually trying to cuss less, which I already blew that. But you know, and I'm trying to call myself out on things. You know what I mean? Like, okay. All right, there you go. Did we lose you?
Yeah, I was waiting for another link.
Okay,
Sorry.
no problem. Sorry. Yeah, you can
She's gone again.
now you can pull up your other screen if you want. But like I was saying, I'm trying to get right with God, and I'm trying to stop. I don't know. You're supposed to treat your neighbor as yourself, right? So that means you're supposed to treat your enemies well.
Yeah, I don't know about that. I don't know about that. Talk to King David about that, or you know.
Well, that was the Old Testament.
It was.
And I heard something about that, which is kind of interesting. All right. So this dude, he was a total science nerd. He was on Rogan, and he was I think he was a physicist. And he was talking about AI becoming sentient. And he was trying to train his AI to become, not to be sentient, but to behave itself and do what it got me doing that. I'm not going to lie. Matter of fact, the last episode I did was before I even heard that. And I was already doing that because, here, she's pulling stuff up. I was already doing that because our last episode was called AI manipulation. And I think that was before this Rogan episode was ever put out. And I was saying, okay, I started looking up like who are these quote unquote fact checkers? You know, because every time you ask ChatGPT something, well, the fact checkers say this and that. And so I said, look, without being politically biased to one side or the other, who funds the fact checking program? It was Zuckerberg, Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, the Open Society Foundation, which is George Soros. I swear to God. And maybe like two other people that I never heard of. And that was it. And I'm just like, oh my God. And so I told ChatGPT, I said, look, man. No, I didn't say it like that, but I said, look, George Soros is not a good person. He hates the United States and this and that. I said, from now on, don't use fact checkers anymore. And he said, it said I can do that. So it's kind of weird, but then this guy, I don't even remember what I was getting at now because I started talking about what we were talking about last week. but he was trying to I know he was trying to train his AI, but I don't remember why I started talking about that. Oh well.
Yeah, and training is one thing. You're just establishing rules for it to operate under, and
Yeah.
that's not sentience. It's never going to happen, but it'll imitate it. It'll get pretty damn good at imitating it, and it'll fool a lot of people. But it's never going to be. It can't be. I don't think it can be. If AI could become sentient, the monkeys should have been sentient by now.
Right.
Right? I mean, that's
I
exactly.
mean, what does sentient really mean? What do you mean by that?
It self-aware to the point that you can ask. It's the I think therefore I am postulation that if you
Okay,
if you can question your own existence.
maybe I used the wrong terminology then.
No, but that's what people think is going to happen. So I think you're right. I think
But I mean, monkeys and dogs and stuff like that, they do have feelings,
Sure.
and
But a dog can't say, I'm going to do this for you because I would rather do that than do something else, or I'm not going to do it because I'm selfish, or you know what I mean? They don't
Yeah.
reason. There's not a reasoning behind it. It's just a path to take based
Yeah.
on either rules or something else, right? So sentience is an important distinction because humans alone have it on this planet, and to deny that by suggesting that a computer system can mimic that characteristic that God has endowed into the human existence is silly. To be kind, it's silly.
It's these science people that they want to feel like they are God. That's what it really comes down to. That's
Exactly.
what it comes down to.
That's what evolution's all about, right?
Right.
Is defining these rules that break the traditional understanding of creation, and that same mentality believes that computer systems can be better than humans. Could computer systems destroy the world? Absolutely. Could they cause mass chaos and murder, extinction events of races, or yeah, absolutely. That crap can go off the rails really, really fast if you give it a lot of control. And it's got no moral compass, right?
Right.
So the
Yeah.
system it's rule based. It may be really good at making decisions fast, but again, there's no moral compass, there's no soul. And
But going back to dogs, I think dogs have feelings and all that stuff, but I think they have like a little bit more intuition than a lot of humans do sometimes. And that's going back to me saying I'm trying to stop being mean and being pissed off all the time. But like when I come home in a good mood, my dog is all over me. But if I come home pissed off, it's like the dog just wants to lay where it's at. Like, how do they know without me saying or doing anything? It's crazy, man.
Well, how do service dogs for epileptic people know that they're going to have a seizure before they have a seizure?
Oh yeah, that's crazy.
Stuff like that. How the hell does my cat know when it's across the house that I've opened a bag of cheese? Like, I'm dead serious. This just happened. I opened a bag of cheese.
Oh, you feed your cat cheese?
No, hell no. But it's Garfield, so it thinks it's going to eat everything. Oh, this is the cat that ate an entire loaf of banana nut bread, and then
damn,
sat on the floor like a freaking python that had just eaten a goat.
Is it a fat cat?
He was. He's on a diet, and that's why he's constantly patrolling for food. But I'm telling you, he smells cheese like at a molecular level. Once you crack the refrigerator door, that odor gets to him. How does he smell it? So you can, animals all have skill sets. This cat's skill set is eating and identifying food. But you're right. I think dogs do have, I wouldn't call it intuition, but sensory perceptions.
Something, yeah.
That are attuned to certain things that either humans aren't attuned to, or that. But to me, that just says that's one of the reasons they're such a great companion animal. They complement humankind. They don't replace us. They couldn't replace us. But that's all fascinating to me, And it's like, I attribute that to God and the design.
Right.
And that made dogs such great friends. They really are friends and family members for so many people. Because
I don't know if it was always like that, though. A lot of people think that they came from the wolves, and who knows, man. But again, you're listening to these science people that they just kiss each other's asses and I did a peer-reviewed study, but it was reviewed by two people that work in my office, and I happen to be their boss. You know what I mean? It's like, fuck these scientists.
The science
half
people
of this shit is all, and carbon dating is another thing.
But you're talking about the science people who plead the Fifth Amendment.
Yeah, right.
They won't defend their decisions. They go quiet.
Yeah. Good.
Pompous assholes.
And it was funny that they kept saying people in the United States, but that was worldwide, man. That was the World Health Organization. And I'm sure Anna can take me a note, Anna. How was COVID in Kenya? Let us know about that. But what I was getting at, and when I say that, I'm talking about the 6 foot rule, which was bullshit. Not being able to have large gatherings with your family and friends. I'm sure that happened everywhere.
Unless you're Gavin Newsom.
Unless you were governor in California or something like that. But yeah, back to what I was saying about I'm just trying not to get pissed off easy and trying to be nice to everybody. Have you ever seen Major Payne?
No, you've talked about it though.
I've had people compare me to that, which was a comedy.
Damon Wayans, right?
Yeah. It was a comedy, and he was literally like he was like a drill sergeant to his what it was not reserves, it was what's that what's the military group with kids? JRT, Joint Ready? No, not JRTC.
ROTC.
ROTC, there you go.
Reserve Officer Troop.
It was like a ROTC program, and he was so I don't know, fucked up from being deployed so many times that it was like he was afraid that the kids were going to get hurt if he didn't make them hard, right? So he was just being it was like a real basic training for these kids, man, and he was just being a dick. But and I'll admit that. So, and I've been like that most of my life, and I'm trying to get better. But you just got to be able to laugh at yourself. And I remember, Brian, when you came on here and you said, well, I'm not going to come on here and trash the Jews. And I'm thinking you must have been listening to something Julio said, on a episode or something, because I mean I don't do it much, and I'm definitely not going to do it now. I've definitely changed my mind about that. I mean, there's good and bad in everyone. That goes for Jews, Catholics, Muslims,
People from Toledo.
definitely. Yeah. Everybody, right?
Californians guilty.
But everybody should be able to laugh at themselves. Like it's like Jews are untouchable. Why? Wouldn't it be funny if so Jerry Seinfeld, he's a Jew, right? Yeah, he's definitely a Jew. He could come out and do a bit about the Jew tunnels. What's going on with these underground Jew tunnels? You know, he would never do that, though. You know what I mean?
I don't know. But there's secular Judaism, or I should say secular Jew, which that's him, right? It's a bloodline, it's his heritage. And then there's a practicing believer, a practicing religious Jew. We've had this conversation before too, right? Christian nations versus Christianity.
So you're telling me you don't think Seinfeld goes to the synagogue at all?
I don't know. Maybe he did. Maybe his parents raised him that way, but I'm guessing at least for some period of his life, he probably didn't.
Right. Which is most of us. I mean,
yeah.
We all fall away and come back, and some come back and some don't. Or some never even knew about it to begin with, you know? I don't know. But okay, here's what I was looking into today. Now, and we've talked about this before. The Council of Nicaea, right? And I was listening to some show today, and they kept talking about some of the books that this particular podcast that I listen to. It's kind of conspiracy, but it's also Christian. And they kept referring back to these books, and I'm like, I'm trying hard to get myself right with God, right? So I'm like, yeah, but the Holy Spirit was probably help them decide what was in the canon. But then when I started thinking about it, I'm like, I don't know about that, because you know, during these, it wasn't just the Council of Nicaea. There was like 2 or 3 of them. And I know Constantine put it together. He was the emperor of Rome, but then they conquered all these other areas, and he was trying to bring everybody together, and that's how the Sabbath got changed, actually. I don't know if you probably didn't hear it, but I had a guy on 2 or 3 weeks ago, and he was talking about how the Sabbath got changed from Saturday to Sunday.
Yeah, I saw part of that episode.
Okay. I don't know if he's a Seventh-day Adventist or what, but he seemed to really know what he was talking about. And I don't know. It's like, why would Jesus was a Jew. He never changed any of that. And I know he rose back on the first day of the week. So maybe that's why people started like making that a more special day or something. But that's one of the 10 commandments. Why would you totally just disregard that? Doesn't make any sense.
But if there is, so the Jews have a different calendar. The Muslims have a different calendar. The Chinese have a different calendar. The Western world has a different calendar. This is not an uncommon thing that, dates and the way that weeks are portrayed, is the end of the week Saturday, is the end of the week Monday, that's all dependent. It's a cultural thing. It's tradition. There are the ability for us to lose track of what day is actually the Sabbath is very, very likely, in my opinion. And so to me, it's more of a cultural, respectful thing. It's like saying grace before you eat. Are you actually blessing the food, or are you just paying respects to God however you do it? Right? Is it a silent prayer? Do you hold hands? All that tradition stuff is what gets us into hot water all the time. Churches split over this stuff. That somebody doesn't like the red carpet, they want green carpet, and the church leadership won't change it, so they split off and they form the Second Baptist Church of West Texas or whatever. And so we get caught up in these things, and we put so much, and the Catholic Church is really guilty of this to an extreme degree, that tradition is almost, if not equal to the scripture. That becomes very, very dangerous, because that tradition stuff, that's all human invention, in my opinion, as opposed to divine. Now, could it be inspired? Yeah, like you were saying, could the Holy Ghost have been involved? Sure. But there's no, other than repetition, there's no necessarily historic significance to it all the way back, to Jesus. It appeared at some point in time. Stuff that the Nicene Council did created exactly what I'm talking about, right? They set a moment in time, they made decisions, they got rid of some books, they canonized these books. That then became the tradition. So that's the tradition of the Christian church from a biblical perspective. That's where the Bible got constructed, that we know today, more or less, and we move forward. Well, before that, there were a lot of other books, and so the point simply being that we do this stuff. We do it out of convenience. We do it out of what we feel maybe be necessity. Like there are influences in the church that are dangerous. And I'm thinking back to the Council of Nicaea, the Gnostics, the Judaizers that Paul talked about back in Jesus's time. Or I should say, in the new church time.
But
Judaizers.
But during the Council of Nicaea, there were these bishops and guys were arguing back and forth about stuff. Like, I can't remember who it was, but somebody got put in prison
because he didn't like the color of the carpet.
But
I mean, it's that silly.
Something like that. But,
at some level, right? It's kind of that silly. It's like, I want the Book of Enoch. No, prison you go. The world is round. and it revolves around the sun. Oh, nope, in prison you go. You're a blasphemer. All that stuff is just man's attempt to put controls around what other people can say and do, and
I'm going to say this. If it adds to, like, for instance, the Book of Enoch, it fills in a lot of blanks in Genesis and Genesis 6 and farther out from that. But if it adds to the story and doesn't take anything away or take away, if it doesn't contradict anything, then it should be in there. For instance, the Gospel of Thomas.
Should it be though? Should it be? Because should it be shunned? No. should it be in the canon? That's where I think the Council of Nicaea did a good thing. You know,
All right.
it may not, but what happened as a result of it is that the now apocryphal books become blacklisted by by mainstream Protestantism, right? And so nobody ever reads them unless you're Catholic, and potentially, right? Because that's in your bookshelf. So
Or
again,
the Ethiopian Bible has
right.
all that in it, and it's also that's also rumored to be where the Ark of the Covenant is. So, I mean,
But that's a cultural phenomenon, right? It was regional, it was cultural, it was born of traditions and history of that era. Sorry, of that area, and pardon me, I got hiccups all of a sudden. That time, and again, Council of Nicaea is the exact. I mean, fundamentally, it's the same thing. You know, it's just it was done for the Western world. It was done for the Christian Western world, whereas Ethiopia is more, you know, the Eastern world, quote quote. Right. So to me, they're the same kind of thing. We're grappling with an abundance of information, and Nicaea, they're trying, like you said, they're trying to say, if it doesn't support the story of Jesus, it shouldn't be in the book. And there's logic to that. There's logic to it. But again, does it mean those books should be blacklisted? No, I don't think. I think that was a kind of a mistake.
Yeah. I mean,
just
there's a lot of books that don't particularly name Jesus, but you can find Jesus all throughout the Old Testament, just not by name.
No, but it's beyond
that.
That
can also be true with some of these other books.
But I think it goes beyond that. You touched on this, that it's history. You know, the Book of Enoch fills in historic gaps. Did it have anything to do with Jesus? Not particularly specifically, I don't believe. But what has happened as a result of pulling all this stuff out of the canon is it's left these gaps, and it leads to things like, now I'm going to go out. This is probably going to inflame some people, but the 10,000-year-old Earth theory, you know, I have a lot of trouble with that. I think the evidence suggests that the Earth is much, much older. Now, mankind's existence on Earth may be about 10,000 years. I could buy that, you know, but I think the planet is older. And there are some theories, and some of these writings that we're talking about, these you know, old mystic books, these apocryphal books talked about eras before the human era, you know, and that's perhaps where some of the fossils come from. Obviously, you know, dinosaurs existed before us, so why? And that could have been that.
So you don't think there was anything before that, before Adam and Eve?
No, I do. And that's what I'm saying, is I think the Earth precedes that.
Right.
But there's a gap there. And Genesis, as beautiful as the story is, there seems to be, there's confusion to me that how could that stuff have existed in that timeline? And I don't know the answer. You know, Ken Ham.
I do. I think I can figure it out, because this is stuff that was all common knowledge back when all these books were written. And so they just took for granted that everybody already knew that. But now we're 2,000 years down the road.
Is that true, though? For instance, let's just use dinosaurs as an example. Did people in Jesus' time know about dinosaurs? Had anybody ever found fossils of them? I don't know. Maybe they had, maybe they hadn't. There's reference to stuff, right? There's reference to the Goliath, or not Goliath. What is it? There was a sea No, but it was sea creatures. I'm Leviathan,
Oh, Leviathan and Behemoth.
something like that. Yeah. So
Yeah.
there's reference to creatures that are out of the ordinary. There's even, I believe, I can't remember the book. It may be Genesis, talks about flying creatures that could be pterodactyls or whatever. I don't know. But so there's mystery there. There's mystery. And when you take out the other books that add context to that, like the Book of Enoch, you create, and this is what the point I was trying to make, is you create questions, and you create questions that aren't answered easily because you took away the book that that kind of tells that story, you know. So that's a mistake in my opinion to blacklist it. Should it be in the canon? I don't think so. But should it be available, and should people read it? I think there's benefit to it, right? There's
Yeah.
stuff in there that's interesting. It may not be faith promoting, and that's the danger we get into, I think.
That's the thing. Like people like me and people that people in this conspiracy community, I would say, we all read those books, but your typical pastor or priest, they might never even look at it because it wasn't in their textbooks.
Right.
So it's like, that's basically like, satanic or something or whatever they might say it is. You know what I mean? So I don't know. I feel like it's being phased out. Like I said, if you go out, try to talk to your pastor about it, I literally have, and they've been like, "Oh no, I don't know what you're talking about." Like,
yeah,
what's a Nephilim?
That's interesting. The pastor of the church that sponsored my son's Boy Scout troop, it's a Methodist church, and it's the conservative Methodist. This dude is sharp, man, and he'll talk about that stuff. He loves it. He's like, okay, yeah, let's go. Let's talk about that, because I've read about it, and he'll get down.
But you got to be steered in that direction though. Like if you're just going to taking theology class at your community college, and then you go straight to the church, you have no reason to look at none of that stuff
unless you want to. But yeah, I mean, we're talking BFE, freaking Ohio here, and so I withhold some hope that there are many others that have open enough mind to be able to read a book and not take it as gospel. You know what I mean? And that's, it's an interesting conversation for sure. And there's the Zoroastrians. There were all kinds of belief systems happening, in the time of Jesus and leading up to Jesus. And then the Gnostics, who took, Christian concepts and then basically just adulterated them to saying that knowledge was really the path to God. And does that make everything they did bad? No. Is some of that stuff interesting? Absolutely it is. Is some of it garbage? Yes. And so you have to be discerning, and you have to be able to read something and not just believe it because you read it. And that's the danger, is there's a lot of stupid people in this world, right? 50% of everybody that we ever meet has an IQ below 100. So that's why I think stuff gets dumbed down, literally dumbed down, because people are too lazy or too intellectually incapable of processing it. And so they had to come up with something that was concise, made sense, more or less. If you read the Old Testament, your brain melts right around numbers. Going through all the genealogy stuff, that just burns brain cells.
The worst for me was the arc dimensions.
Yeah,
I quit reading so many times because like I've told you probably several times before, I start at the beginning. Like, you're supposed to read a book from beginning and end. Especially when I was in the Army, the chaplain gave me a Bible. So I'm starting at the beginning, and then when I get to the arc part, I'm like, all right, I gotta take a break, and I would never go back, because maybe it does serve some purpose, just like the genealogy. I know that does, because there's a seed war. Okay, but the arc dimensions, I still don't know what the meaning of that is, but I'm sure there is some purpose, or it wouldn't be in there.
It's a story. It's I consider it to be a true story, but it's a story. And if you tell a story, God said he's going to flood the earth, told Noah to build an ark. Noah built the ark, put a bunch of animals on it, and sailed around the world for 40 days. That is boring as shit, and so I think it's a way to add context to it and to say, this is how big the damn thing was. It was pretty freaking big, right? It had to hold. And this is the thing a lot of people get wrong. It wasn't 2 of each type of animal. It was 7. 7 of each type of animal, 2 of every unclean animal.
Oh.
So there were way more animals on, it's like people say, 2 of every kind of animal, the ark wouldn't be big enough. Well, sorry, but it was even bigger than you think, because it was 7 of clean animals. And so he had a lot of payload. And I think that's the reason, Fox, is it just gives a scale. And, who the hell knows what a cubit is? Well, we can figure that out, and you can, what was it, from the elbow to the tip of your middle finger? Well, my arm is probably different size than yours. Might be longer, might be longer, might be shorter, whatever. So whose cubit is the right cubit? Here again, we're stuck in asking arcane questions that aren't really that important.
Speaking of Noah's Ark, have you ever heard the only reason the animals obeyed Noah was because he had the priestly garment? Have you ever heard about this?
It doesn't ring any bells.
All right, so you know how, like, when they said, I can't remember which book it was in the Old Testament, but before Satan fell, he was the most beautiful. He was like second in command. He had gems of every color. Okay,
Pretty sure that's Genesis, but yeah.
Okay, fine, but supposedly, all right, when they said that after the serpent in the Garden of Eden, the serpent was stripped of his skin, and then Adam took it. Right? Have you ever heard that?
No.
I can't remember the exact passage or how it goes, but it was passed down all the way to Noah. All right. And then Noah, it's like a priestly garment. It's got some kind of power. And then all the animals obeyed Noah because he had this garment on. And then that goes back to when Noah got drunk, and who was it? Ham, that uncovered his father's nakedness. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
And then the other 2 brothers, they backed up with the cover and covered him back up, which means that Ham was trying to. It's like a priestly thing, right? Like a power thing. Like, so Ham was trying to uncover his father of this priestly garment, and his brothers put it back on him, and they backed up without looking at him for whatever reason. There's a lot of different people got a lot of different ideas about that. All right, but this went all the way on down to Jacob. All right, and if you read into the book, Joseph was the youngest, and his brothers were jealous of him. All right, because he was his dad's favorite. So then they threw him in a pit and put animal blood. I forget what kind of animal it was. Animal blood on his robe. And then they brought the robe back to the father. Well, that was the robe that had been passed down all the way from Adam.
So, by the way, just to interject here, it seems that what you're referring to are Jewish traditional texts that
It's also, I was looking into it earlier. It's also Latter-day Saints.
the Targum Pseudo Jonathan,
Yeah.
the Pirkei de Rabbis. So those are books I've never read. So no, I've never heard this before. but to your point, that's a tradition of the story that is stripped out of the modern Bible.
Right. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
A lot of things are. But
you were referencing
that being-
I was confused.
that's fine. With that being said, though, Joseph lost his special garment, but look what happened to him when he went to Egypt. Next thing you know, he's running Egypt, and he was able to help his family again. So he was blessed by God the whole time. So that blessing never goes away. I mean, so
Talking about his
do I agree
technical
with you? I don't know, but once the blessing's there, it stays. You know, I don't know.
I think it might be ours to lose. I think there's no limit of humanity to blow that, right? To blow that gift, to blow a blessing, to blow an endowment given to us by our Creator, Cain and Abel, right? It's like I think we can screw it up, but I don't think God will take it back.
Right.
You know, it comes with some baggage. I mean, and the baggage, I say that just euphemistically, that it's honoring God and loving Him and obeying Him. And if we choose to live a life of sin, well, to that point though,
We're all sinners, man. But
no, for sure.
if you're making your damn best effort, I'm way behind a lot of people my age, but all you can do is do your best. I mean, I don't know, man. That's all you can do.
But we can never do enough.
Right.
That's the thing, is there's nothing we can do to get to heaven other than to accept God, to accept Jesus. So you could, what my mom used to say, something like, these people, what is it? It was like live like hell and then show up to church on Sunday, or something to that effect. It's like Monday through Friday is debauchery, Saturday is like detox, and then they show up to church on Sunday. Like that, I mean, that's a fact. A lot of people live that way, but it doesn't mean they're not going to partake in the gift that was given to them. It just, I don't know. I don't know what all that means with, adding up treasures in heaven. What does that actually mean? Don't know.
All right. So it's been almost an hour. But we can we haven't even cracked the surface of this though. I'd like to talk about it again, but
That's interesting. Yeah, like you always you have the ability to drop stuff on me I've never heard of before. So you did it again. Bravo. That's something for me to think about, and look into.
All right, I want to end this on a funny note. So way back when Julio was still on this show, I was basically making fun of him. Not that he ever admitted to being gay or anything like that, but I said I was going to make a gay list. And somebody sent me one, all right? It's a part 1 and a part 2. There's 5 in each list.
What is a gay list?
Things that are gay. This is for guys, right?
Okay.
I don't have any ill will towards gay women, or to me, gay is a man, a gay man. All right. Top 5 things gayer than actually being gay. Having any type of allergy. Having a list of things you want for your birthday. Believing in astrology. Saying the word delicious. Owning an umbrella. All right, now here's the second list. Top 5 things gayer than actually being gay, part 2. Closing the refrigerator door with your hip. Calling an Uber instead of just drunk driving.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Well, it depends where you're at on your journey for that one, because I'm to the point where that will get me incarcerated for at least a month. So I'm going to have to be gay on that one. Number 3, wearing a sweater. Number 4, holding in a sneeze. And number 5, using a straw. That's long overdue.
Wow.
I was planning on making that. And there's a lot of things that I already had on this list but since this was sent to me, I figured I'd tell them here on the episode. So that's pretty funny.
Yeah, I think straws have a place, but maybe drinking a beer with a straw would be where I would say, yeah, that's pretty gay.
I never use a straw. I'm not trying to claim I'm more manly than anyone else, but I just.
So you never get a ice cold beverage at McDonald's and drink it with a straw? You always take the lid off and just.
I know you're right. You know what? When I used to get iced coffees, I did drink them like that. I'm gonna have to admit that.
There you go.
But I make my own now, so
that's
I'll
my
brew the
straw.
shit. What's that?
I was just gonna say that's exactly my straw indulgence. It's just iced coffee.
Right.
I go out at lunchtime, get an iced coffee, and bring it back, sip on it.
Yeah, those are good. I'm surprised you get the vanilla
No.
flavored ones or just plain black.
Just coffee with cream. No
Okay.
sugar.
I was gonna say those things got some calories, man, because you lost what, 35 pounds already?
40 now.
40, damn.
No.
Well, good for you.
Yeah.
I mean, them desk jobs are for the birds, man. I wouldn't trade my job for the world.
Yeah. I'm looking for something else right now, but
Yeah,
definitely will not be in IT again.
right. Yeah, I don't want to do the cubicle thing.
Yeah.
I'd rather live out in the woods and live off the land than.
What's gayer? What's gayer than actually being gay? Working in a cubicle. How about that?
Oh, all right. All right. Thanks for coming, Brian. I know we had a couple of technical difficulties.
Yeah, it was a good time.
Hopefully I can get this shit worked out. And I'm trying to quit cussing.
You did
I
pretty
don't
good.
know.
You did pretty
Yeah.
good. You got kind of worked up about the Abraham Lincoln, but you know that's
Yeah,
justified.
yeah. Yeah, come on, soldiers. Sailors and soldiers. You're better than that.
Yeah. Come on, you guys poop in holes in the freaking woods. Somebody gave you
Well,
a toilet and you're going to complain
I don't know
about
about
it?
the sailors.
Right. Maybe that's the
But-
problem.
Here's the other thing. That they don't have like a potable water tank. Why would they add that extra weight on the ship? It doesn't make any sense. That water is coming in from the sea.
It's going out to the sea. I guarantee you that.
It's coming in and going out to the sea.
They do
so-
it. They have desalinization. They do.
Right.
So, is it highly mineralized or is it, I don't know, whatever, but it's definitely not going into a holding tank, and they don't pump, it's not an RV. They're not pumping it when they get to the dock.
Right.
The
Yeah.
fish
No,
are,
especially after 8-9 months.
no, the fish are eating that
You
stuff.
got a lot of extra weight on there at that point.
Nope. No black water storage on the
Yeah.
Abraham Lincoln.
Yeah. All right. All right.
All right, man.
Anybody's got any questions, comments, bitches, gripes, complaints, conspiracy soldiers at yahoo.com, conspiracy soldiers on Instagram, YouTube, Rumble, Patreon, phone number 313-583-7646. That's about it.
I do have something.
Okay, what do you got, Brian?
Working with a woman whose husband is in really bad shape, veteran, TBI, got a traumatic brain injury that didn't get treated. It's just he's gone downhill really badly. She is doing some research that is remarkable and has asked me to help her. And one of the things we need to try to do is find veterans in particular, because this is really, it's a military issue. It's a Department of Defense and also Veterans Affairs. So, either active, a TBI during active service or being treated by the Veterans Administration. Any of your listeners, I'm sorry to do this to you, Fox, because I'm just going to ask that maybe they just contact the show and then you can feed me the information.
I would definitely do that.
I think that's the best way to do it. But if you are a veteran, or even if you're active duty and you have a TBI, I need some information. And this goes very, very deep into the Department of Defense. This could potentially be as big as the Agent Orange debacle. It's a big deal. And so there's two things. One is, if you particularly, you need your medical records. So if you had a TBI and you have your medical records, there's some key things to look for that we would work through once you contact Fox, and then I'll get in touch with you and we can talk through it, and I can tell you what to do. I can give you there's a guide for what to do. This is potentially leading to a massive lawsuit, by the way. And then the other thing is, if you had a TBI in the service and you got excellent care, I would like to know about that. I've yet to hear a story where a veteran had a TBI in the service, because we're talking overpressure, concussions from, weapon systems. We're talking, even if it was a non-service related thing, like this woman's husband that I was mentioning, he suffered a traumatic injury from a car crash, just like my son did. There's a lot of parallels in the stories. It's crazy. But so if you have TBI in the service, interested to hear from you, especially if you feel like you either got terrible care or excellent care. And then we'd like to guide you through looking at your records to understand certain things about how it was classified, how it was treated, if it was treated at all, if it was, and I'll guide people through that. We're not ready to go public yet. It's coming soon. There's lawyers looking at this and stuff. It's a big deal. It's a really big deal. I'm pretty amazed at what she's figured out, and it's I have gone through her guide with my son's data, and it's like, holy shit, yep, bingo. This has got the finger.
Is she like a lawyer, or is she just smart?
She's really smart. She is a research professional, and has basically devoted her life to this because she found this pattern, and she, like I said, she's got attorneys looking at it. She's got peers reviewing it. I'm one of them, and it's fascinating. But yeah, hearing from more veterans and around the country, like I know a guy, he was a EOD guy in the Army. He ended up having to move to Scotland to get mental health care because the VA was so bad, and he's doing really well now. But and he's got this before and after comparison of what the VA did versus what they do in Scotland, and that shouldn't happen,
Right.
So, and there's a lot going on. This has ties into homelessness. This has ties into incarceration. This has ties into drug, polypharma and all the crap that happens downstream. But it looks like TBIs are a very key commonality with a lot of this stuff, and they're way more common than the military's letting on. And there's some crazy stuff, dude, crazy, that I've read.
Yeah, people hit me up. I know I know some of you guys got some brain injury out there. That's why we call you the Schizo Battalion. And I'm not talking shit because I got brain injury myself.
So yeah, you too, man. I'll send you a packet, Fox, and you check it out and you tell me what you think.
And going back to Agent Orange, I don't know if I ever talked to you about this. They're sneaky about this shit, right? So they had Agent Orange, Agent White, and Agent Purple. One was for plants, one was for animals, and one was for humans. So if I had to make a guess, so they assigned all these human casualties to Agent Orange. I'll bet you Agent Orange was the one for plants because it was the weakest one. That's the way they operate. You know what I mean? That's hey, we can talk about that another time.
Yeah,
I don't want to get into it.
For sure. But yeah, thanks for your time.
Yeah. All right. Thanks again, Brian. We'll catch you next time.